All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Podcast 83, the podcast put on by the Michigan Association of Counties, brought to you by DTE Energy. Dina's fixing her hair still. Must have surprised her by starting. Got Dina Bosworth from MAC and Meghann Keit from MAC. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Hope you guys had a good weekend.
That was great.
It was a good weekend. It was a productive weekend
COVID free.
this weekend.
I get my first shot today, so I'm very excited. So right after this podcast, I am going to get to my 4 o'clock appointment.
Good for you. Good for you. We'll get right into it then, because we don't, of course, don't want to hold you up for that. So Dina, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about this Section 115 change, the legislation that's been introduced about that, and what's going on there.
Sure. Thanks, Steve. And so it amends Part 115 of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act. And that's just a long way of saying they're finally updating the statute to deal with solid waste management. It's always been a county responsibility to have solid waste management plans. But the way the statute was written before, it was really just focused on landfill after landfill, who can have them and what those regulations are. Well, for the past 6 years, both the department, industry experts, county appointees have sat across the table from each other and really kind of negotiated what these plans should look like. So now the legislation is implementing what they call materials management plans, which is much more heavily focused on recycling, and not just sort of the curbside pickup or even the drop-off stations. Although those will be included as sort of planning for recycling, they're also increasing regulations and environmental protections on landfills, on composting facilities, greater financial assurances for those that currently have landfills and when they close, how you take care of them. It increases, application fees and permits all over the place, raises additional revenue, and then allocates money out of the Michigan, I can't remember what the phone is, a recycling fund. It's not recycling fund, Renew Michigan Fund, to give grants out not only to counties for this whole material management plan process, but to other entities to increase recycling markets, for education and outreach. It's a huge bill package. It's a huge bill package. It's very dense material, and it's something that was introduced last year. And they had several hearings out last year. It started to make its way through the process, but as we know, in lame duck, things get a little crazy. And something that is that intense, that dense, had a hard time making it all the way through the process. It takes a lot of education and a significant amount of time to really absorb it all. So it's there, and MAC has been kind of struggling with what to do with it for a long time.
What are the concerns about it?
Well, our platforms say that we absolutely support more money to rewrite these plans because we're supposed to be doing it every 5 years. This does that. Our platforms say we, encourage recycling and want to see higher recycling rates. This plan does that. It still leaves a significant amount of control and power in the hands of the county, and this plan does that. But at the same time, it's also extremely complicated. It's been a couple of decades since we've had money to actually rewrite these solid waste management plans. And so it's going to take a significant amount of expertise, time, publication, coordination, and money to rewrite these plans. And we're going to have 3 years to do it. And there's just not that many experts out there. So the funding in the bills is there. At least there is money this time. So the money is there. It's just, I'm not sure it's going to be enough money. And I'm not sure that we're going to have access to the experts to actually write all of this. So I worry a little bit about getting that done. At the end of the day, we wrote a letter in support of the package of bills to come out of committee. It has been a good faith effort on everyone's part to come to a consensus. But in that letter, we said, hey, we've got some reservations. It's going to take a ton of time, ton of coordination, and probably a lot more money. So that when I go knocking on the door next year and say this is nowhere near enough, at least they've been warned.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a complex issue and something that you guys will keep on working in our environmental committee. Meghann, you've also been dealing with an issue, more of a federal issue in our judiciary committee. It has to do with the FCC and a 911 rule change, right?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. We've had county commissioners, administrators over the past few months hear from their local their 911 directors on this issue. So we started engaging last month as well, reaching out to our federal partners. But basically, those 911 fees that are attached to your phone bill, state and locals can set those. But the feds are coming in through the Federal Communication Commission's rulemaking process. And changing what's allowable to be spent out of those fees that's directly related to the 911 process. So they're kind of changing the definitions on what that money can be used for, and it's really excluding and eliminating certain uses of the funds, such as radio infrastructure and mobile radios, things that are really critical to dispatching the 911 response. And so we've had our partners with the Michigan Communication Directors Association and some members of the State 911 Committee talk to our Judiciary and Public Safety Committee just at their last meeting. We are going to partner with them to put a letter to the Michigan congressional delegation together, encouraging their support of our position and telling the FCC to not pass those rules as is. So we're hearing from a lot of our members and hopeful that they don't pass the rules as is, because if so, it's going to be a lot of funding that falls back on the county to continue supporting those 911 operations.
Yeah, I'm sure you're working with NACO on that as well, correct?
Yep. We've reached out to our partners at NACO and asked them to engage as well.
Good, great. Dina, a piece of legislation we've been working on and a kind of an issue we typically fight against are exemptions, right? Property tax exemptions, things along that line. We've been talking a little bit about the broadband property tax exemption on equipment. I know you testified on it. Where are we at with those bills?
Yeah, it's Senate Bill 46 and House Bill 4210, and they provide personal property tax exemptions for what they consider to be eligible broadband equipment. And again, much like that last package of bills that I just talked about, the idea that we need greater build out, faster internet service, especially in the more rural areas, we can't deny that. It's got great intentions. But at the end of the day, giving property tax exemptions for this type of personal property is just not something that our organization can support. Our platforms, again, say we don't support property tax exemptions unless the state is going to reimburse us for whatever those losses are. And in our current situation where it's very hard for local units of government to raise revenue, to increase their revenue, granting even more property exemptions for the next greatest cause is just not something we can support. So the bills have passed both the House and the Senate, and they're on their way to the governor for her consideration. And we still flat out remain opposed. We're not opposed to more build out, but the amount of money that a company is going to save on personal property tax is still not going to be enough for them to build out that last mile out into a rural area. It's not the answer to the problem.
Well, and especially now with the American Recovery Plan, there's funds available there for building out the rural broadband or for any broadband, right?
Billions, right?
Yeah, billions. Yeah, that seems like a better avenue than giving a small property tax exemption, is to use those funds when they become available.
And frankly, Steve, at the end of the day, I mean, it comes down to this. These businesses are not going to make a decision on, that last mile based on a slightly better return on investment when they're still going to lose a significant amount of money on that build out. If there are not enough customers, they're not going to go there. This bill doesn't actually ensure that they're going to go where locals want it to go. Yes, they have to increase broadband capabilities. They have to increase the upstream and downstream speeds and provide that. But I don't know if this is necessarily going to solve that problem.
Right. Before I forget to, if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or ask them at any time. We'll answer them all at the end. Meghann, as we're approaching the March 31st deadline, you want to just give a quick reminder about the open meetings and virtual meetings?
Yeah, absolutely. So March 31st, that deadline is here. The March 31st date essentially expires the no reason remote meeting. So meeting remotely for any circumstance past March 31st, a local declaration either has to be in place or a member of a county commission would have to have some type of medical reason that they could not attend in person. And so we have been reaching out, collecting information from our members who's passed local declarations of emergency to continue meeting remotely. And I think at this point we have nearly 2/3 of our membership that's been responding, and a number of them that do have that local declaration in place. If the county does not have that local declaration in place, then certainly make sure that you are consulting with legal counsel, coming up with ways to adhere to both Open Meetings Act and that public participation that's required, as well as being able to adhere to the DHHS gathering guidance and restrictions so that you have logistics in place, extra room availability, whatever it may be that you can accommodate both of those, both the Open Meetings Act and the local or the state health order.
Great. Yep. Thank you. And then finally, Dina, some legislation that we've worked on last session. We've had a few counties already pass resolutions in support of this topic already this year, and look forward to moving it through the legislative process. We have bill numbers on 4-year county commissioner terms now.
We do. Senate Bill 242 and Senate Bill 245. This year, it's a bipartisan package of bills. So we have Senator McBroom and Senator Moss, a Republican from the UP and a Democrat from Southeast Michigan, as bill sponsors, which we're very happy about. They've been referred to the Senate Committee on Local Government. I know Derek has a sample resolution on our website for all of those counties who have not passed a resolution in favor of it. And then Derek's also worked on some language where we're going to launch a phone to action campaign again, so that hopefully we can get the bills taken up in committee when they get back from spring break. So the legislature's gone this week and next week, but then we're hopeful for some committee action the following week. So that would be the week of the 12th of April. So we'll get all that out to everybody, and let's mobilize our troops and get it done.
Yeah, especially now with everyone probably being back in their districts at some point in time over the next 2 weeks. If you do see your legislators back there, it's always nice to give them a quick reminder of some of the issues that we're working on, for your county commissioner terms being one of the top ones. So we appreciate everyone's help with that. Well, with that, Derek, do we have any questions?
We do, from Don Brown, who introduced the bills and number. Based on the time he typed this in, I assume he's talking about Part 115.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Part 115 is I'm sorry, I should probably talk over here, right? 115 is House Bills 4454 through 4461, and it's again a bipartisan package of bills.
And are those assigned to?
We wrote an article on it in our legislative update last week, so you can click on that. You'll get a synopsis of what those bills are. And also, if you go to the Michigan Legislature website, the fiscal analysis is there, which gives you even more detail.
And what committee are those in, Dina? Do you know?
They just came out of House Natural Resources.
Okay.
So now they're on the House floor.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Jim Moreno up in Isabella County. How about municipal broadband creation? I presume he means about local governments creating their own broadband systems.
Yeah, I don't think there's been any change in any status of that. Just the funding, the federal funding becoming available that local units of government can use to assist companies to build out the broadband. I don't believe there's been any change, right, guys to allow for counties
No,
to?
we've had that battle in the legislature before where we wanted local units to have access to some grant programs. And they keep excluding us from that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing in the recent legislation that Dina talked about earlier changed that.
Yep.
Okay, Jody Valentino, Roscommon, has there been any discussion on working to fund/support equipment that will be needed to facilitate Starlink satellite internet to rural areas?
I think Starlink is the Elon Musk's internet access through satellite system. I don't think there's been anything on that. I don't know how that's something we would have to look into as far as the federal package goes and being able to use funds to assist in that. I'm not quite sure how that would work. But we can look into it as we get some more guidance from the federal funds. We'll keep our eye out for anything related to satellite internet, I guess is what you would call that. You can kind of see them at night sometimes. You can see them circling. There's like a line of stars that move very quickly across the star. That's a Starlink.
I really love it when Steve
Wow.
shows the sneaky side. I do. You know, he's got that cool long hair going and he's still kind of a geek on the inside.
I am.
Okay, that's it for questions. Gladwin County did want us to be aware that they have extended their SOE. And then also, I just wanted to mention on the 4-year term resolution template, if your county is interested, just email me at melot at micounties.org, and I'll send you the template, and that'll be the easiest way for me to get it to you quickly. And that's it.
Well, great. Meghann, good luck with your shot. You know, don't watch if you don't like the needles or anything. Just look away. It takes a
I
second.
just look away and then you can't even feel it.
Good. Dina, anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
All right, great. Well, thanks everyone.
Wait. We're not going to be here next week.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
1 week
we will
off,
not-
then we'll be back the week after.
Yes.
All right. Good point. Thanks. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a good week.
All right. Thanks.
Bye,
Steve.
everyone.
Bye.